My name is Rafael Mojica, and I'm program director for Soulardarity. A lot of the interviews that were done with Jackson Coppell, the former executive director, and then with our current executive director, Shamika Nichols. And it was this one Detroit Free Press article that was just doing a general story about the work that Soulardarity was doing in Highland Park. And Shamika had this really great quote in there that it was the moment that really, sealed the deal for me. And the quote was her talking about energy democracy and describing it. And this is not word for word, but the way she described it was that it is a soulful idea of making sure that any decisions that are made when it comes to our energy needs to be decided by the people who are impacted by it the most. And that really spoke to me because I really feel like at the time when I was reading it that I was very frustrated with the decisions that were being made by the people who supposedly are advocating for us. And I'm not just talking about, on a partisan level. I'm talking about all across the board. I was not in a great place when it came to how I felt with our leadership. And when you are not happy with your leadership, you need to become leaders for yourselves to make the changes that you want to see happen. And what Shamika was describing there, that was exactly it. It was about putting the greatest amount of volume of decision-making in the hands of the people who are impacted by those policies that they are trying to create for them. So in 2021, the Soulardarity Community Organizing Collaborative worked with the Highland Park Community Crisis Coalition to promote Highland Park's application with Communities Leap, which is a Department of Energy Technical Assistance Fund that helps cities like Highland Park to reach a renewable energy future when it comes to their infrastructure. And it's a very highly competitive process. It's across the country. And we had our application approved, and we were one of 23 cities across the country chosen for that. And so I was really proud of the community organizing work that our organizers did with that, and we're still engaged with that process to this day. And then also, I would say most recently when it comes to the loud work, the DTE community rally that we had at Avalon Village, that was, focused through a collaborative environment with other environmental justice organizations to bring focus on the extractive and really, diabolical practices of DTE. And then another one is the Reverb Project, where we were chosen by an organization to receive funds to help us install more streetlights. And all of these, recent accomplishments that we've had, was collectively done through the work of our staff. And some of those things wouldn't have been accomplished, like, for example, Reverb, if we hadn't gotten ourselves on the map with the work that we've done in the past. So I would say those are the three highlights so far of my work that I'm really proud of. There are a lot of goals and benchmarks that are constantly being communicated by our governments, whether it's our federal government or state governments or municipal governments. But one of the things that organizations like Soulardarity needs to be making sure when these kinds of goals are established is that in these goals, they are putting a special focus on the communities that have been impacted and are still being impacted the most when it comes to our local climate, when it comes to the health of our communities, when it comes to our energy policies. A lot of times when these goals are stated, They very rarely mention communities like Highland Park being prioritized, or Detroit, or Flint, or Pontiac, or Saginaw. These are frontline communities that have residents that could use the help the most out of a lot of folks in our state. And I'm not saying that not everybody should be benefiting from these, but we want to make sure as an organization that we keep a magnifying glass of focus on communities like Highland Park when it comes to the kinds of economic and health, environmental and health benefits that that plans like the Michigan Healthy Climate Plan from our state government here in Michigan establish. We don't want our people to be left behind. Too often that happens, but the time is right now is to make sure that that doesn't happen again. Soulardarity is an organization when it comes to, its members. We want to make sure that our members are in charge of it. And that also includes our funding as well, too. Just like with a lot of nonprofits, they get their funding from grants. And they're very generous grants. They're grants that align with our mission and our values. But we want our members to be the ones who are pretty much controlling the direction of our organization. And that's why I encourage everybody that I talk to become a dues-paying member, as little as $10 a year, or a sustaining donor of, a small amount every single month, because that's what is going to help us eventually reach that membership-controlled independence with this organization. And that is what is going to give us the ability to expand our work and to maintain the focus on the issues that are important for our members.